Why did I decide to freeze my eggs? I don't want to have a child when I'm 50, even if I can. And that would be my biggest regret, actually. Maybe, again, it comes from I'm like, what's wrong with you? And it has never happened before. Like, out of control. What the fuck am I doing? Why am I doing this when I don't have to? Fuck it, don't have a baby then. This is so hard. Basically, I was like this and like this. If you are thinking about freezing your eggs, the reason why I want to talk about it out loud is because I know so many women are struggling silently. If I have the knowledge and awareness now and I want to buy that freedom of choice for myself, why not? If this is something you would want to do or consider down the road, this is what happens.
Head over heels.
Are we sure we're rolling? So, yeah, it has been a lot, you guys. Everyone is back in the studio for the first time in a long time. And maybe for you, if you've been binge listening to us, I know some of you do, maybe it doesn't feel like a long time. But for us, it has been over a month since we are back in the studio. And a lot has happened. Oh my God, I don't even know where to start. I was thinking about how do I do an introduction, but I guess that was an introduction in itself because this is our second time rolling. Shit happens, like we said before in the previous episode. We were recording this episode for a minute in, or maybe two, and then Kai was like, no, the audio wasn't rolling. Shit like that does happen, and that's fine. And if anything this month has taught me is to deal with stress with joy and a smile on your face. So yeah, I haven't felt stressed in a long time, and don't miss it, and it's okay. Anyway, guys, I don't know where to start. Okay, let's start with Healer's House because I'm looking at the sticker right now. Healer's House is also at the back of my laptop. And if you were there and you didn't get the sticker, why? Why you didn't get the sticker? And if you want the sticker, we have plenty. We have plenty. We have plenty. Why are you guys laughing? So if you ever bump into us, ask us for the sticker. I hope we have it at hand, but if we don't, we'll find a way to give it to you. And in fact, actually, a lot has happened in the sense where actually we do have another merch coming up, and we're supposed to sell our merch that you already have seen. It's in our background today. If you weren't at Healer's House, you wouldn't know what it is, but it's basically some art prints that we came up with, and I really wanted to be very intentional about our merch because I don't want to just come up with a tote bag and slap my brand on it and call it merch. You know, I feel like with Head Over Heels, everything that we do, every conversation that we have, big or small, it's very intentional, right? So we were thinking about what do we want to do? Okay, maybe art print, because it is something that you can keep and it can serve as a reminder, and it is what you make it to be, right? Especially this one in the back. It says, oh, sorry, not this side, that side. If you're watching on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. It says, slow down, you're doing fine. And honestly, I really needed that this whole month. So much has happened, which is why today we are going to catch up. Shall I start with some of your confessions at Healer's House? Because we didn't have enough time to the point where I need to tell people, guys, enough. I can't keep giving 5 more minutes. Time is up. You guys were having such a ball of a time, and it was such a joyful and happy thing to see because it was like as though you guys already knew each other the moment you met, and that is the best gift I could give you. And I hope you guys are still hanging out now. All right. So this confession says, by the way, it's really hard to read with your handwriting. I think everybody was rushing to write and thinking of what to say, but it says, it's interesting to listen to so many different stories from so many different people. It made me feel like I am so freaking young. Girl, yes, you are. I don't even know how old you are, but you are. And new to the world. Also, in a way, it makes me feel less lonely, because I thought my problems were so big that no one can relate. But IRL, in real life, everyone is struggling with their own big problems. Yes, girl, you're so right. Overall, I just feel grateful that I had pushed myself to come for this event today. Another day, another growth. Oh, this is so nice. I didn't get to see all your confessions on that day, by the way. Like right after the event, I was rushing home because I was flying off to Johor the next day. And after Johor, it was my surgery, which I will get into later. So this is my first time seeing most of your confessions from Healer's House. I just want to say thank you so much for writing your heart, and we get to keep this. In fact, we will be scanning them and posting it up on our socials very soon as part of our content, because I feel like I don't want to just throw it away. Like, no way. It's going to be in our archives, okay? Our first ever Healer's House. Okay, next confession. Still feel pretty surreal this is happening. The first Head Over Heels offline event where I get to meet the voice and team behind the pod. Was quite nervous to join this event, or not at the beginning when they first announced it. I'm not disappointed and love the energy of the event and look forward to meet new friends. Oh, that's very nice. And I hope you did meet new friends. Okay, this last one, and keep it short. Love the sharing from Maggy and guest. Brought a lot of perspectives and made me recount what I've been through and how I reached where I am today. No specific questions. I'm just thankful for this time and space together. Honestly, this is exactly why Healer's House exists, because for a long time, I just knew that I want a space like this for myself. So why don't I just create it instead of waiting for it to happen? And this is also the reason why this podcast exists. The kind of conversations we don't get to have with our friends, the kind of conversations we have in our heads, the kind of conversation that we want to have, but we don't know who to have it with. It exists here in Head Over Heels. And honestly, at this point, I feel like this podcast is so much bigger than myself. It is the entire team as well. And I think if you were there at Healer's House, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I have 2 more cards that the team prepared, actually. So because at Healer's House, I also shared some stuff that I didn't announce yet at the time. And this person said, what do you actually want to tell your mom after the divorce? And if you have a chance to sit down and have a proper conversation with your dad, what do you wish to tell them? Okay, guys. We gotta talk. So, life updates, right? Healer's House aside, you guys have seen what happened, you know what happened, but amidst Healer's House, amidst planning for Healer's House, my parents were going through a divorce. And it was something that I didn't even tell the team. Did I tell you guys? Yeah, I didn't tell them. I didn't even tell Angel. I don't think, only towards the end I told her, because I needed to fly. And that's when I told her that I say I need to fly on this date. I kept it to myself because I just feel like I wasn't sure how to process it. And if anything, I think I kept it in the back burner. I didn't even deal with it until I had to deal with it. And I feel like that's most of us, right? With big problems in life, sometimes you don't want to deal with it. So you put it at the back of your head. I'll deal with it when the time comes. I'll deal with it when I have to cross the bridge. Oh, yeah, I think he agrees if you heard that honk. So yeah, my parents were going through a divorce. But the thing is, they have been separated for a long time. They just have never officially done the divorce. And the reason for that is also very personal. I will not divulge in the details of my parents' relationship, but for a long time, if you've been a regular here, you know I don't have a good relationship with my father. He was not a father that was very present in my life. So my mom was pretty much a single mom raising me and my sister. And the day I found out that, she has to go to court for this, I was like, oh my God. Okay. But at the time, I didn't know when the court date was, because it is really up to the judge. Like, they want to give tomorrow, they give tomorrow. But at that point of time, 2-3 months ago, the lawyer was telling us it will happen maybe even in January 2026. Like, anytime they will just drop the date, you'll never know. So I was like, okay, fine. I think next year then it's okay, whatever. But the day I found out that the date was going to be in the midst of Healer's House and my egg freezing, I was like, God, why? Like, why? It was so hard. Like, at the same time, it was also the perfect and the only date that was possible. It's almost like God has planned everything for me. Healer's House on the 8th, court date on the 10th, and my surgery on the 11th. Like, it could not have gone any better than this. If the court date was on 8th, I wouldn't have been able to make it. If the court date is a date later, I wouldn't have been able to make it. So everything just fell into place. But because they're all so close together, I just feel like I didn't really have the time to process. But to answer your question, I did meet my parents for the first time not my parents, my dad and my mom together for the first time in a long time. I have kind of processed it with my therapist already just last week, but I don't think I fully processed it, to be honest. I can share with you guys to a certain extent, but basically I went with my mom first and then my dad came. I could tell that he was trying to sit next to my mom, and then he's like, my mom was clearly ignoring him. She hates him, which is why I call him her enemy. She hates him. It's so funny. At this point, it's funny because we're all grown up. We've already had our own lives. They've been separated for a long time. So there's not much emotion left there. Or maybe there is. I don't know. So my dad moved from trying to go next to my mom. He came next to me. So I was like in between my parents for the first time in a very long time. And in fact, maybe the only time that I can actually remember. So if you have your parents with you guys, please don't take it for granted. And it was a very emotional feeling. Like I can still remember it right now, that my dad was here on my left and my mom was on my right. And I just thought to myself, oh my God, I don't think I've sat next to them like this before in my life. And in that moment, I was just a little bit emotional, but I don't want to cry in front of them. So I sneakily took a photo of my legs that I posted on my stories. I don't think they see it. They don't really know. Oh, my mom does. She's like, why you take that photo? And I'm like, Mom, I want to remember that. Remember for what? Fair. But I'm like secretly taking that photo in my mind. It's like, oh my gosh, should I take a selfie? It would be so cool if I take a selfie with both my parents. But I chickened out. I didn't take it and that would be my biggest regret, actually. That would be my biggest regret, that I already know is a regret the moment I left the court. But long story short, I did have a short conversation with my dad, and I just kind of told him, he said something, and I said to him, well, you brought this upon yourself. You can't complain. You can't say anything. This was your doings. This was your choice, and you have to live with it. I didn't say it so nicely. I said it in Chinese, my broken Chinese, but essentially that was what I meant. And I guess maybe deep down, I just feel like he's a little bit sad that I was with my mom. Like, he fucked this up and he didn't need to fuck up this beautiful family he already had, but he did. And now he can't have it back ever again. Because his question to me was, oh, you flew all the way just for this? And I said, yeah, of course I'm going to be with Mom. And I just felt this sadness in his voice and said, oh, okay. And then I asked him back, where's your wife? What wife? And I'm like, there he goes again with his inconsistency in his relationship, right? Nothing has really changed. And I could feel and sense that he felt very lonely. And at the same time, he felt like, I fucked this up. But there's not much we could do. I could even feel like when we said goodbye, he wanted to kind of like hug me, but my mom was next to me. She's like, let's go. I was like, okay, bye. So not much could be done lah. But it was a very emotional personally for me. And I think I'm glad for once in my life, I got to sit next to my mom and dad, even though it was in court, even though it was not the most ideal circumstances to be with your parents. But I think it's okay. I think that is like a core memory in my life, that picture of me in between my parents. I will never forget that. And I don't regret going all the way there, even though the court decided not to show up. And my mom, guys, it's so funny. My mom was so upset. She's like, what do you mean he's not here? We waited for 2 hours. He just decided not to show up. And yeah, long story short, the judge didn't show up. They gave her a new date, which was a couple of It's just 5 days ago from this day of the recording. So as of today, my mom is officially single and not yet available, I don't think. I don't think she wants to be available. I don't know. But I congratulated her and I'm very happy for her. And I told her, Mom, you're free now. I told her, you are free from this pain, from whatever it is that's been holding you back all these while. You are a free woman and we will take care of you. So yeah, that's the long story short. Still pretty long. Am I happy? Yes, I'm very happy for my mother because I feel like, oh my gosh, there's one thing that I have to say. After I shared my parents' divorce, so many people actually wrote into me and said, I'm so glad your mom was so brave enough to do that because my parents are stuck in an unhappy marriage. They don't even sleep together. They are just together for the sake of us, but like, we are all adults now. We don't need you to be together anymore. We want you to be happy. So that really gave me a different perspective when it comes to unhappy marriages. And it made me think, oh my God, if one day I have a child and this happens, what would I do? And looking at what my mom did, I think she did what she thought was best. She knew she didn't want to stay with my dad because he wasn't the man for her. And I'm so proud of her for that. And I know so many women don't have that courage to do that. And maybe because my mom is like that, she gave me such a courage and so much bravery to also step out of relationship that no longer served me. And I hope now I can pay forward and give that to you. If you're stuck in an unhappy relationship, know that nothing changes if nothing changes. And one of our art prints says, what does it say? Yes, it says, what you're not changing, you are choosing. And I'm glad my mom didn't choose to be in an unhappy marriage. And years later, who's the happy one? My mother and not my dad, because she broke the cycle. And even though in her own ways, she did, maybe not in a way that I would have done, she didn't really communicate to me when I was young why it happened. Like I had to really unravel everything myself. I'm glad she did it. I'm so glad. So yeah, I hope that gives you a tiny bit of courage to walk out of whatever you feel like doesn't serve you anymore. Maybe that's a sign. If my mother can do it at almost 60, you can do it too. And it will be the most liberating feeling ever. We went for a nice meal after, and I'm so glad I got to spend time with her. So yeah. And this whole thing about marriage and kids really got me thinking about my own life. Having a children is something that I think about all the time. Like what kind of family I want in the future. And that ultimately led me to this big decision I made recently. And I'm still recovering from it. And it's freezing my eggs. And we are going to talk about that right now. Before I start, healers, I just want to be very clear that I am not giving any medical advice. I'm just sharing what I went through personally and what my body went through, what my mind went through, and what I wish I knew before getting into this whole egg freezing process. And I also know that every woman's experience is different. So please, please, please consult your own doctor before making any decisions for yourself. Okay. And this is also going to be 2 parts of the entire process because as I was working on the episode guide, I realized there is no way I can jam pack everything into one episode. So today's episode is me catching up with you and also sharing my personal egg freezing experience from a human standpoint, from my personal experience. And in part 2, in our next episode, I will be inviting my doctor, Dr. Arasu, on the pod with me to really tackle and come in with all your medical answers and perspective because I'm not a doctor, so I am in no way the right person to be telling you what to do and answer all your burning questions about egg freezing, fertility, infertility, and all that stuff. Okay, so keep a lookout for the next episode, and I really, really hope that would be very beneficial to you. And I feel like that would be a very timeless episode for anyone who decides that they want to egg freeze or they want to go through IVF. That would be for you. But that's in the next episode. But today, it's my story. Honestly, it has been one of the most rewarding, yet uncomfortable, very confusing, but very, very fulfilling experience for me. Even though I had to go through it in the midst of the craziest and busiest month of my life with Healer's House, planning an event and such a big scale compared to what we usually do, and my parents' divorce, I just feel like everything happened for a reason. And I'm walking out of that experience feeling like, oh my God, I can deal with stress so well, actually. I'm so resilient and I can do hard things. So, yeah, today I want to really unpack everything, but again, there is so much to talk about and unpack, guys. There is so much. I have my whole note in my notebook, but there's only so much I can really do, but I'm going to try my best. If there's any questions that you feel I didn't cover, I will talk about it in my IG, okay? So yeah, let me start from the beginning. Why did I decide to freeze my eggs? Honestly, the reason is pretty simple. I know I want a kid, but I don't know when I want it. I don't want it now because I'm not yet married. Again, not yet married and not having a child is not a problem. I know a lot of people have children before they're married, so that's not really the point. But I do know I want to bring my child into a stable household, in a stable partnership relationship. And I want to choose that season of my life with intention and not pressure. I don't want to pressure myself into being in a relationship because I know myself. I know at the back of my head, if I think that, oh my God, if I'm not together with this guy, if I'm not married yet, I won't have enough time to have baby, all that stuff. Like if you're a woman, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I just don't want those factors to be clouding my judgment. I don't want to be with a man just because I want to have a child, right? So, and I know, I don't know if I'm okay with if I don't have a child. So I don't know the answer to that yet. Some people say, oh, what if you don't have a child? I'll leave it to God. I'm like, yeah, okay, great. But what if I want? And by the time I want, what if it's too late? And what if I don't have much choice? And what if it's going to be hard by the time I want it? So I think about all these things. And these are the thoughts that have been ruminating in my head for the past few years since, I left a very long-term relationship. So obviously when I was in a long-term relationship, like egg freezing wasn't even something I think about. It's just like, okay, obviously we're going to maybe eventually get married. And then, I was still in my 20s as well. So I don't think about it. But now, my early 30s, I know even doctor said I'm still very young and I'm one of his youngest patient to be freezing her eggs. And I'm like, okay, what's wrong with that? So what if I'm the youngest? I just know what I want early then. Because I know a lot of people start freezing their eggs when they find out that maybe there's a bit of a problem. And that's totally okay. That's totally valid. But for me, I just know that if I have the knowledge and awareness now and I want to buy that choice, the freedom of choice for myself, why not? So yeah, and if I'm being real, watching my parents go through that divorce really cemented that decision for me. It reminded me how much and how important it is to have and to build a healthy, steady foundation before even having a child. And I know to build that foundation is going to take time. Guys, let's just talk about dating. Hey, do you want a child? Oh, I don't really want a child. Okay, next. Do you want a child? Okay, maybe 4 child. Oh, that's too many. Like the conversation and the process is long, even just finding the right partner. What more getting to marriage? And then what more getting to having a child eventually? Like I know it's going to be a long process and I never want to rush it, which is why I decided to freeze my eggs. And I don't want to regret not doing it while I can. I don't want to do it when I'm forced to. And yeah, I didn't freeze my eggs because I was panicking. Like actually, I'm quite chill at the moment. Like doctors say, if I want to have a baby now, I can because I got very nice eggs, in there. My ovaries are doing good, which I'm very grateful for. But I did them because I wanted my future me to feel safe. Maybe again, it comes from my trauma. So much of who we are today, like I always say, has to do with our past. Maybe I grew up with so much uncertainty that this adult version of me want to have a foundation for my future. And this is me building that foundation. And if you could relate to me, you are, at the age where maybe most of your peers are settling down and, as a woman, like it or not, there is a ticking clock with our ovaries and with our uterus, with our bodies. And not just that, right? Like, how to say, I don't want to have a child when I'm 50, even if I can. Because what does that mean? Like when I'm 70, my child will only be 20 years old. I don't think I have the energy to deal with, an early young adult. You know what I mean? So like I'm really just buying that freedom of choice. And I have my own timeline as to what's the max I want to have a child. So yeah. And I feel like a lot of you guys can relate to that. And if you are too, what I did was really do a lot of research. And I found, I went through all the possible clinics in all of Klang Valley because I know I don't want to travel just to do it. And I found this clinic that my previous gynae that operated my ovarian cyst 5 years ago was in. Like she's working there now. So that kind of like also cemented my decision. Okay, this is it. I loved her and I know that she's a great doctor and she would not work at a center that is not good. Maggie, tell us the entire process for egg freezing, please. How much does it cost and pain level? Okay, guys, I'll still try my best to break it down, but I won't be able to go down into the nitty gritty details from day one to now because that's just too much to unpack. But I will come in with a more human side of things because Dr. Arasu will break it down for us in a more professional medical standpoint. But I will tell you what was the hardest part. But first, how does it work? Okay, the cue was, I thought I can do it anytime I want. Like, okay, maybe I'll do it in December 20th, for example, because it's my free week. No, you don't get to choose. You don't get to choose when exactly because it depends on your cycle. So the cue was the day I get my period, I have to call the clinic because the next day immediately I need to be in there to do my scan and get my medications. And by medications, I mean the injections, okay? So that's what I did. And I knew that week I cannot work already. I was supposed to go to Hong Kong and meet Hyun Bin, but no. My ex decided to say, I'm coming, you cannot go. So that was really a heartbreak for me, like not being able to meet Hyun Bin in person. But it's okay. Shout out Disney. Thank you for thinking of me. But yeah, so there were sacrifices for sure. So yeah, I went to the clinic on the second day and they gave me all my medications. And I think I only started the injections on the third day onwards because I think at a point I already knew my mom's court date. So doctor really did his best to help me accommodate my injection times or whatever. Like it has to be perfect. You can't skip a day. So we started one day late so that I can have the surgery a day later after the court date. So thank you so much, Dr. Arasu. That was so accommodating. So honestly, I think the hardest part for me was the injection because I hate injections. I don't know about you, but if you guys go take your blood, can you stare at the needle? I cannot look at the needle, I try, but it was so hard. Like I'm one of those people who freaking freaks out whenever I get injected. Like I hate it. So can you imagine having to inject myself? Astaga. It was the hardest thing ever. But it took me a day or two to get used to it because the first few needles with the pen is actually very, very fine. But it was the last couple of needles that was like 2 to 3 times thicker. Oh, it was painful. And then the toughest injection was the last day of injection, which they call it the trigger shot. What does it do? I don't know how to explain. That's why I need Dr. Arasu to explain But I just remember the 1st to the 8th day, it was the pen injection. I also had to take medication to make sure I don't ovulate. And then there's another injection that makes sure that I don't ovulate because I have a lot of eggs that we're trying to mature. So long story short, I had 24 eggs in total, which was amazing. So can you imagine holding like 12 eggs on each side of your ovary. It's really heavy. But the thing is, the bloat didn't happen until much later for me. So yeah, okay, anyway, go back to the injection first. The injection wasn't the worst. It was really when you press the medication in and you can feel it going through your body. Because you're injecting yourself, so you know everything that's happening. Oh my gosh, I can still feel it right now. It's like a what's the effect? Like a placebo effect? No, not placebo, sorry. Like a you know when someone amputate their hand, they can still kind of feel something goes something. Anyway, so I had to inject myself, and thank God I have some tummy fat. For the first time in my life, I'm grateful I have some tummy fat, because if it's all muscle, oh, so painful. So you need to pinch your fat and kind of like inject it in. And it's pretty long, I have to say. The needle is like this long. Is this long? I mean, going all the way in is long-ish lah. Okay, not this is crazy, but this is long, right? So yeah, the injection itself didn't feel much after a while, because you kind of get used to it. And oddly enough, I was looking forward to inject myself every morning. And I actually documented every single day. So I'm going to input it into this footage of this podcast on YouTube at some point. I did document every single day, but you can see as the day goes by, I get less excited, because I was bloating day after day after day. So if I'm not wrong, again, please wait for part 2 for Dr. Arasu to clarify this. What the injection does was obviously stimulating my egg growth. And when the eggs are so big, obviously I get bloated. And that is the worst feeling in the world. So I really have so much respect for women who are going through this and is still going through this and is still trying for a baby. It is truly one of the hardest things I've ever experienced. So the reality is, the first 4 days, I was fine and dandy. I even told them, oh, I'm okay. I think I'm responding very well to the medication. I don't have any side effects like what my friend said. Spoke too soon. Shot myself in the foot. Because immediately 2 days later, guys, I was the bloat decided to say hello. Like, hello, bitch. What did you say? You're not bloated? Because I was, oh my gosh. Okay, if you're a woman, also, if you're a man, if you had too much hot pot, that bloat, okay, not comparable. But girls, when you have your period bloat, okay, you know that feeling, times that by 1,000. It's not just cramp, it's not just bloat. Like, I feel like my bloat was up to my chest. Like, and my boobs, okay, this is TMI, but my tits, my nipple, it's like protruding out the whole time. I'm like, what's wrong with you? And this is really TMI, but during the healer's house, I was wearing my red top, right? Guys, stop. And I didn't wear a bra because I cannot wear bra. It's so swollen. Like, I love that my titties was kind of like swollen, but the nipple was painful. So I was wearing like a nipple pad from Oliles. I was wearing my nipple pad. It has never happened before. But my nips was protruding out. Sometimes my thing want to fall out, you know? Like, it was just out so that it was not fully covered. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? So I kept going to the toilet to like just patch it back in every time, because my tits were just out of control. And it has never happened before. Like, out of control. Like, it's almost like it's trying to escape my boobs. It's trying to come out, like, get me out of here. That's how I felt. Really, really. So uncomfortable. And I also wore like a, what's the word? Like a compression pants during the event, because I was so bloated. I was actually very embarrassed. I actually didn't feel my best that day. So I actually wore the compression pants so that you all don't see my tummy. I know people don't care, but it's all in my head. But like, that was how I felt. It really, really changed my body, like, so crazy. My bloat lasted for a long time. I'm gonna get to that in a bit, okay? We're getting to the end of the injection part. So then there's mood swing, and I was always tired. Doctor did tell me, okay, it is a lazy hormone. You're injecting yourself lazy hormone, so you are going to feel fatigue. You're going to feel tired. And I told him, I just want to sleep every single day. Is this normal? Like I'm perpetually tired, and my body was swelling up like nobody's business. My nipple was out of control, but like it's so tender. And like also with each step I take, if I take right step forward, I could feel my right ovary, left step forward, I could feel my left ovary. I'm just like, is this what pregnancy feels like? Because I'm not ready for it. I was tired just talking sometimes, like going up the stairs. Guys, I feel like a loser saying that, but no, for real, that's how I felt, right? And another feeling I remember feeling was just eating a salad makes me feel like I've had 5 bowls of rice. Like, people say full to the brim. I was beyond the brim. I was so like full. I had acid reflux for no fucking reason. I just could not really eat, and I was just like couldn't button up all my pants that's usually loose. My body was changing so rapidly in such a short time. It was so hard to I don't even know how to embrace it. It was really hard. But yeah, did I ask myself, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah. Because I did the trigger shot, the last injection. Mind you, not just one injection. The trigger shot, I had to do 3 injections at one go. So, okay, not at one go lah. 1, 2, 3 lah. Like 3 times. And it has to be on the dot at the particular time because it reflects my surgery time. So I cannot be any later than the time that they've given me. And I was at the airport while I was doing it. So I was questioning my own life decision at that point. I'm like, Maggie Wang, what the heck are you doing to yourself? Did I make the right decision? Why am I doing this when I don't have to? Fuck it, don't have a baby then. This is so hard. But that was me when I was hormonal and very emotional. Now that I'm all cooled down and I'm much better, it was part of the process, right? It was part of the process. So yeah. And it was hard just to even walk. I was bringing my mom to court and I look like I'm pregnant. I swear. She's like, what's wrong with you? I said, Mom, I really feel like I'm pregnant. Now you know, huh? Not easier. And I'm like, yeah, Mom, I don't know how you did it twice. And she's like, then I asked her, do you remember what it's like feeling pregnant? You crazy? Yeah, how I remember? It's been 30 years now. I don't remember. I'm like, okay, good. It's not something you actually remember much, right? Kai, you're a mom before. Do you remember how it feels like being pregnant?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit? A little bit? Yeah. So doctor said that it does feel like an early stage of pregnancy because, for example, our ovaries are usually like this big, 2 cm big, and it was around 6 centimeters, like 3 times bigger than its usual size. So I suppose it could be the size of a little fetus, almost. I don't know, like fetus, is that the right word? And I had 2 on both sides. So it was pretty heavy. And it got me thinking how crazy it is that my body is going through this internally. Like so much was happening internally. I was forced to be kind to my body lah, really. So that was quite an experience. I really feel like I had a trial run of what pregnancy felt like. And yeah, I don't know how to explain in words. It is only something you can understand if you've been through it. Otherwise, it's just words for you. But yes, the best way I can describe it is it was like a pregnancy trial run. Such a weird feeling. Like, I know there's something in there, but like, because I know I'm not pregnant. Yeah, it was hard. It was complex. But then it was retrieval day. Come the surgery day. This was me after flying back from JB. I was pretty much done. I was like, get me out of here ASAP. I can't wait for this to be done. And but of course, when I was in the operation theater, I was freaking the hell out. I'm not sure if my assistant Angel saw. She was there with me. She was my husband that day. Because everybody will ask, oh, is your spouse coming? Yes, she's here. So was I lonely going through that, like, without my loved one, my family. I mean, not really lah. I kind of knew that I was doing this for myself. So like no one else was responsible for this decision but myself. So yeah, I was pretty okay. So shout out Angel for being there for me. She might not have seen my ass because I was really full on bare. Like you just have to wear the robe and everything. And by the time I was out, I was fully like unconscious, half awake, and I was all over the place. Apparently, I spoke a lot of gibberish. Going in there was really just pretty fast. Honestly, the entire procedure was like 30 minutes. It depends on how much eggs you have, to be very honest. So the more eggs you have, the longer it takes. But if you don't have that many, maybe under 20 minutes, really quick. And I remember the anesthesia, the doctor who gave me the anesthesia, he was so nice. He was like, "Oh, I have a son just like your age. You're like my daughter." So the way he spoke to me was like really like papa, it was so nice. And he kept signing my hand because when they put in the tube to draw blood or whatever to put in stuff, they had to put it at the side of my wrist because my veins weren't showing up here, and it gave me panic attack. I was having anxiety because I didn't like things like needles. I don't like needles inside of me. And he's like, "That's not a needle." But I was like, "It looks like a needle." He kept sayanging my hand like that. "Sayang, it's okay, you're fine." And really, the whole team at Everlink really, really took such good care of me. And Angel was there too. They were really, really nice. And the place was, even though it was like pretty much like a hospital, a ward, but like I felt the warmth in that space because I don't know, there's just something about that place that made me feel safe. And I think that is so important, right? And I speak so much about having a safe space for things that you do so that you can do good and thrive. And I felt like I had that with Everlink. So shout out to everyone at Everlink, especially the nurses. That was so, so nice from day one. But yeah, on the operations day, I just remember looking up, and you have to kangkang your leg, guys. You have to really kangkang. I'm just gonna demo a little bit. Like there's this I'm gonna demo, okay? Okay, you basically, it's not a bed. It's like when you go to thread your brows, there's this chair. The kind of like reclining chair, but a really high-tech reclining chair with big, like a dentist chair, but like more high-tech, I think. I don't know. I didn't wear my specs. I cannot wear my contacts. I can roughly see. But then there is this holder at the leg that is not for like a hump on both sides, and it's quite wide. And they're like, "Okay, can you put your leg over it?" I was like, "Huh? How?" Then I was like this and like this.
This is the thumbnail.
For real, I was like this and like this, and it's basically like a holder that holds your calf. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, "Huh, you can't do it when I'm out?" No, you have to do it now. So I'm still awake, So I'm still awake like this. So then, okay, that's enough. Switch to YouTube right now. I'll go back to YouTube and rewind and watch that. So with my legs out like that, I felt uncomfortable lah, obviously. But the doctor, the anesthesia, he was next to me. He kept saying me, he said, it's okay. And I think this is the time they started putting in the anesthesia. So with my leg out, you can imagine, I was like looking, no, I'm scared. And then I think I knocked out. So they did their thing. I will ask Dr. Arasu what happened in part 2 because I really don't know. It was quite exciting, if anything. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting knocked out. And he kept telling me, you're going to have a nice dream. This will be the nice sleep. You'll be okay. And the next thing I know, I really woke up. But I don't think I dreamt. I don't even remember. Like by the time I woke up, it was the nurse telling me to go out, like to put me on the wheeling chair and go back to the ward. And that's about it. The rest was a blur to me. I don't remember much. I had to wait for about an hour. I didn't even have to stay over, and I can go home straight away. So that's why I needed Angel to be there, because I had no one else that could be there for me. It was also like a weekday. You cannot drive after, guys. So please, if you have nobody, get a Grab or whatever. But it's important to have someone with you. I think it's very important. Even the mental support, I think I was freaking out a little bit before that, especially with the needle going into my veins and all that stuff. Like I was really freaking out, and part of me feel like, oh my God, why am I doing this to myself? But in retrospect, I'm glad I did it. Like, and I'm so grateful that I do have my support system. I have friends who was checking up on me every single day after my procedure. I was completely MIA online, um, which is not very me. I always post, right? I'm a chronic poster. I post all the fucking time. All my friends are like, "Do you need to post this?" I'm like, "Stop it. I'm a content creator. Let me be." So I think for a couple of days, like I was MIA because I just cannot function. So this is the part that no one told me about, which was post surgery. I call it surgery because it really felt like a surgery, okay? Even though it's maybe a simple procedure. Nothing was cut open, but the cuts were internal, okay? So my injuries were internal. Again, in part 2, you'll find out exactly what happens in the uterus and the ovary, how they take the eggs out. I don't know because I wasn't there to see. Um, I thought the bloat would go away at this point. Guys, the next day it was worse than the past week. I did not expect that. I thought the next day will go down. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for this bloat to be over. Go to bed, wake up. Fuck, it's worse. It's almost like my body was swelling up from the injury internally. And rightfully so. I went back to another checkup after the surgery. Like after 24 hours, I went back because I cannot tahan. I was like, why am I so bloated? I think doctor told me that it's normal. And I spoke to some of my friends who've done IVF and done egg freezing. They said the bloat is worst after the surgery. So if you're going to plan to go through this, just keep that in mind. Please don't plan for work immediately after your surgery because I don't think it's the wise choice. I pretty much, instead of 1 week off, I took almost 3 weeks off, right, Angel? It was hard. Even she was like, wow, we didn't expect this recovery to be so long. But again, every woman is different. This is my personal experience. And I would say at every juncture of this process, whatever my doctor told me happened exactly. He was very accurate with everything he said, and he was very gentle and very honest about everything. My eggs were looking good, and I'm so thankful. And yeah, but with 24 eggs, my ovaries was stretched out. So it will take time for it to go back to size. And I feel like at this point, I just stopped bleeding about 2 days ago, guys. So basically, you will also have your period, but it's not your real period. It's like the post-procedure period. I call it the fake period, okay? Not my real period. It's the fake period where all the hormones that was injected in or all the injuries that's in there will have to come out. It's about injured inside, right? Because I don't know what they did to take the eggs out, but there's some sort of wound in there where there's blood. So there will be blood. So usually my period lasts about 5 days. And the heavy flow is only 2 days. But this one was heavy flow for 5 days straight. And I was spotting and bleeding for the rest of the week. So almost more than a week of bleeding. And I thought it stopped and came back. It stopped and came back. And I could tell like it's really from like my body is trying to get rid of whatever's remnant of the injury inside. So like I know my body's going through so much. So I was trying my best to be kind to it. But yeah, I think that's the gist of the entire process, from the injections, which was hard, to the retrieval day, to the emotional side of it. My hormones was all over the place. And obviously after stop injecting, my hormones from going so high up with all the progesterone, it crashed. And I could feel my body changing as well. And I'm still going through it. It's less than a month since my procedure, to be very fair. I think it will take about a month or so to be fully back to 100%. But my bloat, I feel like it's kind of gone now. So I did one mistake. I went to work out. I booked a yoga class like a week after my surgery, 7 days after my surgery. When I was doing my downward dog, astaga, oh my God, I could feel my lower abdomen screaming. I couldn't do it. I had to go back to child's pose for a bit, and then I checked ChatGPT. And then she said, no, your ovaries are still in large size. Just because you think you're okay, whatever's inside takes time to go back to size, right? Even doctor actually told me that same thing. I went to see him after. And it can, and if I do all this inversion, I can't even jump, I can cause some sort of torsion, which will complicate things, which was why I couldn't work out for a long time. And that really also made me feel like my self-esteem was an all-time low, but I think that's okay. But ultimately, from this experience, I really realized that, our bodies are so amazing, you guys. Like, what our bodies can do for us, I only had a glimpse of it. It was so incredible. I also had to watch my body expand. It was the most uncomfortable feeling because I have struggled with body image before, right? And immediately I felt ugly. I felt like I have low self-esteem. I feel like, oh my God, I'm not my usual self. I can't even fit into my usual jeans that is usually loose. Like, it was fucking up with my mind. It was really, really hard to see a body change in such a short time. Especially as a woman, or any human being. If your body changes, you're gonna feel some type of way. So, but yeah, I think I gained like 4 kilos. But like, it's not a visible 4 kilos. It's like water retention in my tummy area, maybe a bit on my arm or a bit on my face. But I feel like now it's kind of like gone. I feel like back to normal-ish. But I feel like I'm still not my best self yet. But I think that's okay. I think that's okay. And I'm so glad I had the mental capacity to hold space for myself and tell myself that my body is changing because I'm doing something so difficult. She is doing all the work. Of course, she's going to change. And this is a very important part of the process, and it's temporary. It's okay. I kept telling myself that, really. It was hard. Like, the first thing I was seeing every morning was how big my tummy was. I can't even suck it in, Usually I can suck it in. I can't suck it in. I have a video. I will show it to you guys. I can't even suck it in. The moment I suck it in, I feel like I want to vomit. It sounds so bad. It sounds so dirty, but guys, please, dirty minded. No. Oh my gosh. But yeah, like, if this was me years ago, I will starve myself. Immediately, I'll go to that mode where I'm like, I don't deserve to eat because I'm fat. I have a very unhealthy mindset when I was much younger, in my early 20s. I would starve myself, especially when I was in a pageant before, right? Like, I have such bad relationship with food before. But I think things have changed, and I realized that in this experience where, oh my gosh, I've grown so much. And I, for once, fully embraced the tummy, the titties, the bloat. It took me a while, but I eventually embraced it. I was like, okay, if you're gonna bloat, you bloat, girl. It's okay. It's part of the process. All good, girl. I trust you. I trust that you're doing what you need to do for us. I trust you. Okay, if bloat is what I need to do right now, I will bloat. It's okay. Fuck it. So I think, if anything, it really helps me recreate and recalibrate. Thank you. Recalibrate how I see my body. Because eventually it did kind of go back to normal. But in that process, when I was there, it was hard. I mean, suddenly gaining 4 kilos is not okay, maybe not 4 kilos. I'm exaggerating. I feel like I gain a lot. Because when I step on the weighing machine, it's not my usual weight. And I'm always my usual weight, right? So yeah, ultimately, this entire process made me realize that I can do so much, even if it's hard. That I am capable of still achieving things that I never knew I could, because this entire egg freezing was in the midst of healer's house, in the midst of my parents' divorce. So if anything, it was really a double whammy, triple whammy. But it's just a simple, I'm so proud I did it. And I'm so proud I made that decision. And I'm so proud of my body for surviving through that and still, thankfully, having no complications throughout the entire process. I can say that now. I didn't want to say it earlier during the process because I don't want to, jinx anything. But like, I'm so grateful this body allowed me to go through that. Because I know so many people try and still maybe don't have as much eggs, like, I'm so grateful that my results were good. So I have God to thank. Thank you, God. Thank you. If you are thinking about freezing your eggs, if you're 25, I don't think you need to, guys, please. Don't do it just because I do it. This is not a trend. This is not a cool thing to do. Honestly, if I don't have to freeze my eggs, I don't want to. It's such a painful process to go through all of that and so expensive. I'm going to get to the cost in a bit. It is also something I want to acknowledge that I am so privileged. I'm in a very, very privileged position to have the choice to freeze my eggs because it is a very costly experience and is a very costly process, and not everyone can afford it. And I want to acknowledge that. So know that if you cannot afford, that's okay. Don't feel like you've failed yourself. You can't buy that freedom that I bought for myself. I don't want you to take this experience and compare it with your own life. That's really not the goal and the point of this podcast ever. The reason why I want to talk about it out loud is because I know so many women are struggling silently with this. The fear of maybe not knowing what's next for them. Fear of not finding the right person, the fear of not having a baby, the fear of taking time clock, whatever it is. So the point of this podcast really is to just let you know that there is this option. And if this is something you would want to do or consider down the road, this is what happens. It is really not for you to think, oh, I want to do this too because Maggie did it. No, please. If you don't have to go through what I did, don't. If I can have, actually I can have baby naturally, by the way, guys. So I'm doing it as insurance just in case down the road, by the time I want to have a kid, I can't have it naturally, touch wood, just in case. But based on my checkups with Dr. Arasu at Everlink, everything is fine as of now. But I don't know what will happen because they say that our egg count can drop significantly in our late 30s. So before I'm there, I am just building that foundation so that I can have a better choice down the road. And that's simply it. So, Maggie, how much is it? Okay. So the package that I took was purely only for egg freezing and storage because I didn't need to fertilize anything. I don't have my sperm yet. I don't know who's the baby daddy. So I'm really just my egg storage. And later on, if I have to fertilize it with a sperm and make it into an embryo, that's a whole different process, which we will talk about in part 2. So just for you to have a rough idea as to how costly it is and what it includes, this is possibly the most basic level package, I think, egg freezing. So the package I took was for egg freezing and storage, and it's about 20K and above. It really depends on your body. I don't want to put a fixed amount, but around 20K. For me, it was 20K. And this includes consultation in your scans, stimulation medications, all the injections and stuff, your trigger shot and everything. It's a lot of them. And also I did take the oral tablets as well. The laboratory fees for your egg freezing, operations theater and procedure, your anesthetic fee, and 1 year complimentary egg storage. So if you want to store for more, which I will, then you have to add on a little bit more later on. So again, it is an expensive and very costly procedure. And know that you shouldn't take this lightly. So you should definitely wait for our next episode with Dr. Arasu because he will be with me and I will be talking in depth from his medical standpoint as a doctor. I really trust Dr. Arasu because he came in highly recommended by a lot of people, and I cannot wait for you to hear from him in our next episode, and that's in part 2 because it's impossible for me to jam pack everything into this one episode because this is already almost an hour, if not more. So I hope by me sharing with you my personal experience, give you an idea as to what egg freezing is like. Like, it's not something you do for fun, guys. If I don't have to, I really don't want to. But yeah, what I want to do really is to normalize conversations about fertility, and here we are. And if there's any questions that you feel like I didn't cover, let me know in the comments down below if you're on YouTube or Spotify, wherever you listen to our podcast. Also, I feel like I don't plug this in enough. And it's, if you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to us if you could share it on your socials and share it to the world, because the more people we reach, it will really help us grow as a podcast so that we can continue to do more episodes like this for you. And honestly, it is really just a small team of the four of us. So every share, every like, every comment really counts. And when you interact with us, it also helps us know what you are thinking about, what you want more of. So yeah, we'll see you in the comments. And like I always say, don't forget to fall head over heels for yourself first and always. And I'll catch you guys in part 2 of my egg freezing experience. I'll see you guys. Bye.